solemnly swear before the Burkinabe people and on my honor to preserve, respect, enforce, and defend the Constitution and the Transitional Charter with unwavering commitment. He is far from doing everything to ensure justice for all the inhabitants of Burkina Faso. We are very happy to be among you. We have also taken the time to move along the axis. To see the situation in person, this is the place for me to congratulate you. We sincerely appreciate the work that is being done here and especially aim to encourage you greatly. You might think that during a specific month you hold the upper hand over the enemy, but it is essential to remain highly focused at all times. Because as soon as you let your guard down, it is the opportune moment for them to take advantage. Do we understand each other? There is no possibility for us to think that there is a lull and to give up. And everyone must be attentive. One thing is certain, you will overcome. This enemy can do nothing against you. Much courage. And again, congratulations for everything that is being done. We will remain attentive. Everything that can be done to improve your conditions, we will continue to do. May God bless you. May God preserve you in all your missions. May God watch over you. Homeland or death, we love it. Thank you very much.
Welcome back again. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is African Streamline and I am Atamba Heti. Now, today we are on Ibrahim Traoré and his greatest security tactics. You know, Ibrahim Traoré and Burkina Faso's security system. That's what I'm tackling today. You know, Ibrahim Traoré is doing some things that other people don't want to admit that they are good. But at the end of the day, we don't focus so much on what people say, or rather on what people want to hear. Because there are other African politicians and African leaders, they want to hear us condemning Ibrahim Traoré. They want to hear us speaking negative about Ibrahim Traoré. But let me tell you something. When something is good, praise it. Call a spade, not a big spoon. Okay? So as much and as long as Ibrahim Traoré is still surprising Africans, as long as he is still doing great things to Africans and the people of Burkina Faso, as long as Ibrahim Traoré he is still has the interests of people at heart, we shall talk about him in a positive way. Ibrahim Traoré and Burkina Faso has been one of the greatest and the biggest country and nation that has been able to develop and to come up with greatest security tactics, okay, in a span of only 2 years. Now, Ibrahim Traoré is the current president of Burkina Faso, as we know, and he came to power in the year September 2022 following a military coup, okay, that ousted Paul Henry Sandaogo Damiba. So Traoré is a military officer, for those who don't know, and his leadership has emphasized a more aggressive approach to Burkina Faso, deteriorating security situation, especially regarding jihadist insurgencies and Sahel region. Okay, so Burkina Faso security system under Ibrahim Traoré is a little bit different and is a little bit exceptional compared to other security systems we are seeing out here under other presidents and other leaders. Okay, his is somehow very distinct. Number one, we have military focus. So military focus, Traoré has expanded the role of the military, developing more troops to conflict zones and increasing the number of military operations against insurgents, mainly in the northern and eastern part of the country. So Traoré felt like the military he's having were not enough because, you know, since the departure of France, terrorism in Burkina Faso became, I think it really went high. Many people began fighting Burkina Faso, and I tell you, and I believe, and I know this is the truth, France is the one that is funding the terrorists that are in Burkina Faso. Why are they funding them? They are funding them to show us and to show people that they were in Burkina Faso fighting terrorists. And now that they have gone, you see now terrorists have begun killing people and destroying things in Burkina Faso. So they want to say our absence has led to the rise of terrorism in Burkina Faso. Our presence led to low terrorism in Burkina Faso. That is what they want to do. So for them to be able to claim that, they need to fund terrorists to come in Burkina Faso and begin killing people and destroying properties. So Ibrahim Traoré felt like the only thing I can do here is to add the number of my military, okay? Add them, train them, and keep them in the field so they can be able to actually manage and counter this terrorism. Number 2, volunteers for the defense of the homeland. Now, we have the people who are called the VDPs. And this is something that Ibrahim Traoré has done that is so exceptional. I've never seen this before. In fact, it's my first time to see the VDPs, the volunteers for the defense of the homeland. People who just are volunteering. The second time I've seen this is when the rebels, I don't know what are their name, I've forgotten a little bit. These who are fighting Congo. These people who are calling themselves the revolutionaries who are fighting in Congo. They came in the field, they told people to give themselves freely, like to volunteer to go and fight, okay? The police and the military, the Congo National Military. That is the second time I heard. But the first time I heard it from Ibrahim Traoré, asking the youths in the country to volunteer, to give themselves out so that they can go, they can be given some little training so they can be able to protect their homelands. Because now you see, the military in Burkina Faso cannot go in every single village in the country. They are not enough, okay? So Ibrahim Traoré had to go around in the village asking people and asking the villagers to give out youths or youths who can be able to volunteer to go so they can be subjected to a little training here and there to be able to help in fighting and to help in protecting the homelands, like to protecting the villages, because sometimes terrorists might come in the village, might attack. Before the police officers or before the military officers get there, they have already destroyed properties, they have already killed people. So in every village, we had people who volunteered. They are calling themselves the VDPs. They volunteered themselves to be able to fight and to counter terrorism whenever a situation like that occurs, and maybe the military officers are far or the police officers are far or they are committed somewhere else. So before they come, at least the situations would be a little bit controlled by the VDPs, and that is another strategy that Ibrahim Traoré used to make sure that his system of security is stable. Okay? So a major part of the security strategy involves arming the training civilian auxiliaries known as the VDP. These volunteers support the military in combat and intelligence gathering. However, you see, everything, sometimes they have advantages and disadvantages. However, human rights groups have raised concerns about the accountability and training of these units. But again, you know, sometimes I would call it maybe a disadvantage. But you see, the people who are raising issues are not the people in the community who are complaining about the VDPs. These are calling themselves the human rights groups. They are putting claims that they're raising concerns about accountability and training of the units. Okay, the so-called VDPs. And you see, to my thought, to my mind, to myself, I think maybe these so-called human rights who are raising concerns about the accountability and the training of the civilians, I think they're just people who are sent, maybe, or people who have been paid to try and block what Traoré is trying to do. Because until it gets to a point when I see civilians, or rather I see people like mothers and children's baby crying that the VDPs are doing wrong, that is when I'll also raise concerns, or rather I will always also be keen to understand what is happening. But if it's only the human rights complaining, because I've tried to do some research on my research on how VDPs are operating in Burkina Faso, and I've realized there are some people who are really praising and they are really well with the work of the VDP. This is what they say. Before the come of the VDP, the terrorists used to come to the villages and they would destroy things. Before the military officers come, or rather before the police officers come, these people would have already killed people, displaced people, and destroyed property. But since the VDP came into the picture, now these terrorists are finding very difficult to destroy property, or rather, even if they're destroying property, they don't do it as much as they used to do before the coming of the VDP, because they are countered to some point. Okay? And therefore, as long as the people in the country, because power belongs to the people, people will keep you to a place, and people will also have the power to take you out of a place. Therefore, if people are well with the VDPs, then who are human rights to go against it? Because even I think human rights needs to listen to what the people say. If people complain, then it is okay. You can also complain, and you can also raise your concerns, and we shall listen to you. So according to me, I think the issues of the VDPs being engaged and being brought into the picture, because let me tell you something. We are fighting for the revolution of our countries, of our nations, of the continent in particular. And our police officers are not the people who are going to fight for the revolution of this country, of these nations, of this continent. Because even these police officers, you find out in these other countries, police officers are being paid. The military officers are being paid. Like, for example, in Kenya, when we had a Gen Z protest against bad governance in this country, against President Ruto's government, the police officer was shooting over the youths. They even killed some youths. They were tear gassing the youths. Okay? That is when youths got angry. They went to the parliament. They almost brought the parliament down, because police officers were shooting the youths. So revolution does not come by the fight of the police. Police officers cannot fight to revolve the country. It is in very rare occasions when you find police officers fighting for the revolution of the country. Are we together? Now, what I'm saying is this. It is people who will wake up and fight to revolve a country, to revolve this continent. It is people. Okay? If police officers wants to give a hand of help, because in Burkina Faso the story is different, because the people who took over the government are the military, and those military wanted a revolution. What if you come to a country, or you come across a country where the military and the police officers don't want to take over the government for the purposes of revolving a country? What do? People have to come into the picture and fight themselves to revolve a country. Therefore, what is happening in Burkina Faso, it is just like people waking up, because these VDPs, these people who volunteered, are just people who were willing, who felt like this is a national war, a war that even we as Burkinabe people, we need to engage ourselves in and revolve this country, because revolution belongs to the people. People of the country are the one who will revolve and free themselves. So I don't have a problem with that. The so-called human rights, consult the people first. If people put claims, come with the claims, let's see the claims, and then at the end of the day, it will be, because even at the end of the day, not everybody supports. Some people, they're in the country, they're suffering, but when they see people fighting, they tend to say, oh, just let it be, we don't have to fight, we don't have to spill blood, you see. But at the end of the day, they're suffering, but they just don't want people to fight. Okay? But you see, freedom does not come easily. Freedom must come hard. We must fight for freedom. So I support the VDPs, according to me. Now, number 3, we have anti-French sentiment and railments. Traoré's government distanced itself from France. Okay, the former colonial power ending military cooperations. You see, France and Burkina Faso, they had military cooperations. That was, of course, that was under the previous president, the previous president who was there before the country was taken over by Damiba and then again by Ibrahim Traoré. So they had military cooperations, but Ibrahim Traoré decided to end these military cooperations. The reason as to why he ended these military cooperations, it is because he knew the biggest problem is coming from these people, okay? And he knew the only best way to help myself, if I want anything to be done well in this country, I would rather do it myself. And I would rather not have foreigners here, because they don't know their plans and I don't know what they're planning. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut ties with them, let them go to their country. They've been here for quite some time. They've not been helping. Despite the fact that they're claiming they've been helping us all the times, I can't see any help they've been giving to us. So let them just go back to their country. I'll handle this myself. I'm going to do it by myself. And I think that one has also raised the security of Burkina Faso, because now they know, when you are doing something with your family, you feel somehow safe than when you're doing it with someone who is outside, because you don't know their plan. So I think to some point that one was good. Instead, Burkina Faso has pursued closer ties with Russia, reportedly receiving support from Russian entities like the Wana Group for counterinsurgency efforts. That one we all know. Burkina Faso is somehow cooperating with Russia. And Russia is a country that has been known for quite some time supporting African countries on many things. I think it's because Russia and Africa have the same history. Even I've heard Ibrahim Traoré saying that in some occasions, that we share the same history. They've also gone through tough times as Africans, and therefore, whatever Africans are going through, they know and they understand that pain. Okay, so I've even seen how Russia has been helping Burkina Faso. And one thing I like about Russia is that when you cooperate with Russia, you get a win-win. It's a win-win cooperation. Russia would, maybe if Russia wants something from you, Russia will make sure it has given something in return. So there is nothing that is being given to Russia for free. But again, to some point, we've seen occasions where Russia has been giving Africans things for free. Not like these other countries. Like, for example, United States of America. The so-called aid that was coming from America to African countries, it was coming, but there was a lot of things they were taking back in return. And many people don't know that. US has not been giving aids to Africa for free. There are a lot of things they've been gaining and they've been getting out of Africa. Apart from, unlike Russia has not been reaping from Africa. Why am I saying this? When President William Ruto, a Kenyan president, I love using my country as an example because I live in this country and I know many things about this country. So in Africa, in Kenya, Putin, in the year 2023, he gave out 40 tons of free fertilizer. Was it 40 or 400? Something like that. I think 400 tons of free fertilizer. I'm telling you, the government of Kenya did not pay anything for those fertilizer. It never paid anything. It never paid even a single shilling for those fertilizer. But you know what happened? After that fertilizer had been given to this country, the president of this country started talking to the media and to the people, telling them he is going to reduce the price of fertilizer. Are you getting my point? Now, President William Ruto started lying to people that he is going to reduce the price of fertilizer. But President William Ruto knew very well the fertilizer that he is claiming he is going to reduce price is the fertilizer that had been given to him free of charge from Russia. Russia gave that fertilizer free of charge to Kenyan government so that Kenyan government can spread that fertilizer to everybody in Africa, every farmer in Africa. But the government of Kenya lied to Kenyans. The government went ahead and began saying, we are going to reduce the price of fertilizer. And people celebrated because, you see, now the price of fertilizer was going to be reduced. So people celebrated. That is not the worst thing. And that one cannot shock you. Now, let me shock you because you're not yet shocked. Do you think the government of Kenya gave people that fertilizer at a lower price than how they are buying in the market? No, they did not. What did they do? They went ahead, took that fertilizer that was given to them by Russia free of charge. They sold that fertilizer to the companies in Kenya, to the fertilizer selling companies in Kenya. They sold all that fertilizer, 400 tons, to these companies. After selling this fertilizer to this company, these companies began selling this fertilizer to the people as an original fertilizer from those companies at a very high price as usual. Okay? But the government of Kenya, under President William Ruto, since it had promised people that it is going to give them a fertilizer that is at a lower price, they went on, they made a fake fertilizer, and then they sold this fake fertilizer to the people at a lower price. Those are the kind of leaders we are having in Africa. It's not Ruto alone. Many African leaders, that is how corrupt they are. Fertilizer from Russia given for free. President William Ruto comes to the public and to the media, says, I'm going to reduce the price of fertilizer because the fertilizer had come from Russia. He had not bought it. But the worst thing, he went ahead and took this original fertilizer from Russia, sold it to the fertilizer selling companies in Kenya. Fertilizer selling companies in Kenya began selling that fertilizer to the people of Kenya at a higher price. The government of Kenya goes ahead and makes a fake fertilizer, and then that fake fertilizer, it would have been even given to the people for free. It still sold that fake fertilizer at a lower price. Now, that is why I support Russia sometimes, because you see, Russia gave Kenya fertilizer free of charge. Original fertilizer, free of charge, needing nothing in return. So when you see Ibrahim Traoré cooperating with Russia, Ibrahim Traoré understands, because Ibrahim Traoré has always been talking about a win-win cooperation. Not a situation where you find out someone wants to come to you, get something or harvest from your country, harvest from your land, harvest from your home, and they don't give anything back in return. That one, we and Traoré, we have said no to that. So I support him cooperating with Russia. So Russia has also been giving military materials, military training, personnel to come and train the military of Burkina Faso so they can be able to manage and to counter terrorism. Okay? Now, we also have security challenges. Ibrahim Traoré also in his government, he is sometimes experiencing some security challenges, but Traoré is an intelligent kind of a guy, kind of a person, very intelligent. Upstairs, he is very smart. So the country faces threats from groups linked to Al-Qaeda and ISIS. And you know, these groups are being funded. The people who are funding this group, do you know them? I know them. Okay? Now, there have been large numbers of internally displaced people, over 2 million in early 2024. And I think right now Traoré has tried to at least find solutions for that. He has tried to minimize that, and I think things are going to be well. Attacks on civilians, schools, and infrastructure continues, especially in rural regions. Okay, and these are the reasons as to why Ibrahim Traoré is struggling so much to make sure he is having people who can protect Burkina Faso. Number 5, we have an information control. The government has taken steps to limit dissent, including targeting journalists and restricting access to certain information, especially around military operations. Now, this is something else very important I want you to listen to and I want you to follow very well. You see, number 1, we have France that was in the picture, okay? And we also have other people who are visible, but they are also in the picture. Because let me tell you something. It is not only France that is fighting Burkina Faso today. Right now, Burkina Faso is being fought by many countries. You see these Western presidents, many of them, they are fighting Burkina Faso, they are fighting Niger, and they are fighting Mali. The reason as to why they are fighting Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, it is because Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, under the AES, they are coming up with something very, very, very significant. Something very strong. Something that is going to change West Africa and Africa in particular in a very huge way. Number 1, they are breaking the boundaries. They want to have a free movement between Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. That one is a threat because when they come together as 3 countries, when they form an organization, because they already have the AES, when they come together, when they break this boundary, when they do away with these boundaries, that means number 1, and I want you to listen, that means number 1, they are going to share military. They're going to have one military force. Number 2, they are going to put their governments together and decide working together as one team. That one will give them strength. That one will give them strength. They will have one currency. They will be using one currency. That one will give them strength. They will have come together, and for anybody to defeat them, you must have really arranged your cards very well. And that is why the Western countries are fighting so much so that these 3 countries cannot come together, because if they come together, they are going to be a threat. Okay? So, Ibrahim Traoré, this is what Ibrahim Traoré did. This is what these countries are doing. These countries, they are funding these foreign countries. They are funding people, okay? And they've even manipulated the journalists. They've even manipulated some other media houses to be able to report lies, okay? To report lies. So, number one, some of them are reporting lies. Number two, other ones have been paid to go and read the tactics of the military forces and report them. Okay, so that these people can be able to run they can be able to learn how Burkina Faso under Ibrahim Traoré are operating in terms of their military tactics and all that. How are they working? How are they doing things? So that if they want to come and attack, it's going to be very easy for them to come and attack. Because if you have an information, for you to attack someone, it is very easy. But if you don't have an information about the person you want to attack, it becomes very difficult. So Ibrahim Traoré, what he did, number one, he took steps. He targeted journalists here. He restricted access to certain information, okay, especially around military operations, because he knows where military operations are. That is the most delicate, sensitive, significant, fundamental place. So if anyone wants to overtake them or overcome them easily, they will go to where military are, because the military are carrying the secrets of Burkina Faso right now, the secrets of Ibrahim Traoré right now, and that is why you see he has only surrounded himself with people who are very, very trustworthy and loyal. Okay, so he doesn't want journalists to come around there. That is another strategy of security. Okay, and that is why people have been asking themselves, why is it that many times people have tried to assassinate Ibrahim Traoré, but they failed, and they will fail forever. I'm telling you, they cannot manage, because that guy, as much as he's being protected by his militaries, even God is protecting him. When you do good, God will protect you. That guy is working under very secret measures. Nobody can know what his move are, what he wants to do next. Nobody will. Only we people who follow him so much, we can know this guy is planning this, because we also have that mind, and that's what we want him to do. Every other time, we've been seeing him doing things that we want him to do. Okay, so this guy is only surrounding himself with people who are very, 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 very trustful, faithful, and loyal. That is why you find out that it is very difficult for people to attack him. That is what he's doing, and that is how Ibrahim Traoré has managed. He has really managed to raise the security of Burkina Faso. Every other leader, let us try to just do what we can do to be able to make sure we are protecting Africa, because Africa is our country. All the things that Ibrahim Traoré is doing, let it not be in vain. And we know it's not going to be in vain, because God is going to protect him. So I am praying for a day when every other people will wake up and decide we are going to liberate Africa. Africa is a great continent. It's a great continent that has great nations with great people, with big people, with like-minded people. And therefore, we have to do everything to make sure we are liberating and we are revolving Africa. What do you have to say in the comment section? Let me know. I'll do my best to make sure I read all of them and give a response where possible. I am the African Streamline. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for coming here. If it's your first time to be here, press the subscription button. For the 10 subscribers, you guys are great people. And you know what? I love you so much. And you are always my hero. My elder brothers, I know there are people here who I can call fathers. I see in my audience, we have people who are 65 years and above, you know. Those are my parents, man. And you guys, I really love you so much. Even the mothers, you know, I have an audience of fathers so much, and I love you. The mothers who are here also, may God bless you so much and see you through. You have been my greatest support, and I love you so much. I'll never stop loving you. I'll keep on loving you and praying that God can take care of you and God can also bless you. My black brothers from diaspora, from Caribbean and from Africa in particular, I salute you people so much. Take care of yourself wherever you are and make sure you are safe, because we need you for this fight. A luta continua. I am the African Streamline. Thank you so much and welcome back again. Peace be with you.